Hello folks, Fuzz here, welcome back again to Final Fantasy VIII, and we are really getting close to the end of this series now, so I hope you guys have been enjoying it, and as always, if that is the case, please don't forget to hit the like button on YouTube, and post a comment as well if you're following along, letting me know how this guide has been helpful to you. That really does support me, and just makes me understand that doing these episodes is worthwhile, and that you guys are enjoying them, which is really, of course, the main reason that I do this stuff anyway. So today we're going to be beginning by taking on an optional boss in the Deep Sea Research Centre, which, if you remember previously, was the place where you fought Bahamut and actually collected him as a Guardian Force. So we're going to be fighting the second boss in that area today. Make sure that your characters have the strongest magics junction to them, and then when you're ready, you can head back over to the pad here and land the Ragnarok. And hopefully this place is somewhat familiar to you. Make sure you're all prepared before you head on back in. Now, if you remember, we had to do a little bit of a mini-game here last time, involving blue lights. We don't have to do that again, so don't worry about that. Instead, we're just going to head towards the core. From the save point, we can just head over to the centre here and climb down this giant vine, or tree trunk, or whatever the heck it is. We just want to head on down. And it looks kind of distraught, this place, doesn't it? Like, you know, it's not quite as looked after as it once used to be, perhaps. Once we reach the next level, we actually begin a puzzle. And we start this puzzle by interacting with this device here on the wall. Now, we can request a kind of tutorial, but it's going to confuse the heck out of you, I'd imagine. So just select no and follow my lead. Now, there's a couple of ways to actually do this puzzle. I am aware of that. One way leads to random encounters. One way leads to fixed encounters a little bit later on. We're going to be doing the latter because of the usefulness behind the fixed encounters, which I am going to share with you. So as you continue on through the dialogue here with this machine, it's automatically going to expend 4 of our given 20 steam pressure energies, which will now leave us with 16. And we have to use these to access the bottom floor. So every floor we go to, we have to expend a certain amount of energy, steam pressure rather, in order to access the floor below it. So this first floor, you have to use 4 steam units. Then if we head to this next floor, you can see we get the choice of using 4, 2 or 1. We're just going to use 1 from here on out. So we'll get a similar reaction there from the machinery, and that will allow us to head down to the next floor. And we're actually, as you can see, under the ocean now, as we continue to expend 1 steam pressure per floor here. So, all pretty basic stuff. There we go. And we're going to expend another one here. Although it's not a standard trapdoor, this one, leading to some stairs. This is the final, or second to final floor. So it's actually going to be a lift, or a platform that takes us down to the final of these areas. And we'll just run around until a cutscene triggers, and then Zell even will tell us that he wants to take care of the final machine, and we will go ahead and let him and see what he has up his sleeve. Well, this doesn't seem to have worked out for our party, does it? Still, Zell's not the one to give up that easily. There you go, look. If in doubt, give it a clout. Does the trick. And we can now access the next area. So that brings us to the end of this puzzle here of using our steam pressure units. So because of the way we've done it, we're going to have certain fixed encounters in this next set of areas here. Before you go any further, I highly recommend that you equip your magical character with Mug and make sure everybody's protected against status ailments, especially Confuse, which can be a bit of a nightmare. And then when you're ready, you can head forward for a fixed encounter with the Tri-Face enemy. And this is why we've done this the way that we've done it. Because these guys have the coveted curse spikes that can be mugged. So we're going to go ahead and do so. Curse spikes, when you have 100 of them, can actually be refined using tool refinement into dark matter. If you can't do that when you have 100, it might be that you need to level Siren up. Although Siren is the easiest Guardian Force to level, incidentally. So shouldn't take you too long. But I recommend you get at least 100 curse spikes so that you can get at least one dark matter. But you're actually welcome to get more than that. As you can see, there's a save point here. And if you leave this area out of the room that we just came from, and then enter back in, that fixed encounter with the Tri-Face will be back again. And you can actually farm him over and over and over. So I do recommend, even if you don't want to get many dark matters, that you get at least 100 curse spikes so you can at least get one. Okay, it is worth it. At the very least, just to give Quistis her final blue magic ability. I forget what it's called, Shockwave perhaps. But I recommend at least getting one, if not more, if you're prepared to put the farming into it. As soon as you're happy that you've farmed enough curse spikes, then you can just head down to the next floor. You may encounter some more of these Tri-Face enemies as well, so just bear that in mind as you continue on down. I was going to cut that out, but then I noticed that it's a good opportunity to show Odin, since he's just decided to spawn for us. That's interesting, by the way. It's a good example as to why you shouldn't farm Odin until you have done all the... So why you shouldn't recruit Odin until you've done all your farming. Because if I was needing curse spikes still then, I would not have been able to collect any. Odin would have interrupted that session. So we'll head down to the second floor here, where we will also face some not so friendly creatures, as they may be called. In particular, we're going to see Grendels and Imps. But by this stage in the game, of course, they shouldn't be too challenging to take out. Just head all the way around this room and you'll be able to then reach the bottom floor. Or the next floor, I should say, not the bottom floor. But even with encounter non-equipped, you're going to have these fixed encounters, so just bear that in mind. There's a triple draw point on this floor, which is, you know, quite nice, although most of your characters probably already have triple at this point. But you can, of course, by all means, grab that if you want to. Now, the fixed encounter on this floor is the quite mean Behemoth. So, some of the monsters that you fight here do have nice items that you can either mug or collect as drops. But then, of course, they also have some pretty nasty attacks, such as Meteor, hence the reason why it's nice to have abilities such as Pain on your status attack, because that makes so many creatures in this game just completely worthless, in all honesty, in terms of the damage that they can do. So Behemoth does have a nice health pool. He's a little bit like T-Rex or in that regard. Oh, I feel sorry for this furry little fella. He just couldn't do anything. So there's the triple point, if you want to grab that. If not, then you can just continue making your way down to the 4th level, fighting through the fixed encounters of Behemoth here. And they are coming in thick and fast. Fortunately, I had Odin show his face on the previous attempt. Okay, and now we have to be prepared to face the might of the Ruby Dragon, so make sure you're healed up before you take even a single step, because as you can see, they are quite mean. If you don't have it already, you can actually draw, what's it called, Meteor from this guy, so long as he's high level, which he probably will be at this point. And it's also worth noting that you could cast Doom Train as well. And that should just make him more vulnerable to your physical attacks. Since he does have some nasty abilities, such as the ability to cast Meteor, amongst other things, it is worth just trying to end these battles as quickly as possible. But you've fought the Ruby Dragons before, so it shouldn't be anything new to you, really. You don't want that thing running over you. There we go, now we're doing some proper damage. Oops, cast another Doom Train. Thanks for the heal, appreciate it. The heal of 21 health. Anyway, I won't make you watch this again, so I'll see you on the other side of this battle. So as you can see, it is just a case of slogging through these enemy encounters. But don't worry, because we will get the opportunity to save our game before the next boss. Just make sure you stay healed in between each fight, because you do not want to obviously get taken by surprise. So it looks like we can just about make it to the next floor now. And this is actually the second to final floor. And it's the last floor with these fixed encounters. And in this case, we have to face down to Iron Giants. So once again, I would of course recommend starting off with Doom Train. And then you can just finish them off as you see fit. Easy. They just take quite a lot of pummeling, those guys, because of their high defences. And even though Doom Train does cast Fight Zero, they do like to also cast other abilities such as Mighty Guard, which will obviously halve your attacks. And then you'll enter the final area. At this point, I do recommend whichever character has the hidden ability thingy, which isn't Zell in my case. Let's try Squall. I do forget because I don't use it all that often. Nope. It would be the last, wouldn't it? Okay, move fine. That's the one we want. The reason for that is that there is also a save point here. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you have this ability equipped, you can actually see an Ultima draw point on the previous menu as well. Sorry, the previous floor as well. So, We're going to save our game here. Make sure that you have your speed stat as high as possible on every character, along with auto haste. That's very useful. And if possible, auto protect, auto shell also. And you're going to want to guard against elemental defense for Earth. In terms of Guardian Forces, you're going to want access to Cerberus and Doom Train as usual. Doom Train, of course, will get the boss's vitality down to 0. So make sure that those characters have the Guardian Force ability available to them, the command ability. And then when you're ready, we're going to go and approach this device here on the side. A couple more things I probably should mention is make sure if you have any Ultima stones, you refine those down into Ultima Magic, because this boss actually drops 100 of those stones anyway. And make sure you do not have mug equipped at this point, because the 3 stars item you can mug from this guy is inferior to the Ultima Stone, since you can easily get 3 stars now through Triple Triad, assuming of course you have the CC group quest completed. So when you're ready, we're told we need 10 Sting Pressure to continue, which we have. And then the local resident of this place is going to come and help us understand what's going on here. Or not, as the case may be. So this is the Deep Sea Research Centre, and it looks like we've researched perhaps more than we can chew. So we've now discovered the boss monster through our deep sea researching here. Incidentally, if you still don't have Eden, for whatever reason, the Guardian Force, make sure you have Draw. And you can also draw Ultima from this guy. So if you're lacking that on 1 or 2 characters, then this is a good opportunity to collect it. And look, that's the Ultima weapon that Cloud has in FF7. Right, the first order of business is to revive whoever is one-shot by the Light Pillar ability. So we'll go ahead and Phoenix down them. And then Mega Elixir afterwards. Bring everyone back up to full health. As you can see, this guy has insanely high speed stats. Hence the reason why I highly advised that you also boost up your speed stats. Make sure you refine the Bahamut card as well, which you can farm over and over anyway for your 100 Mega Elixirs. And it might be an idea, you don't have to do this, but it might be an idea to throw on, if I can find it here, the Holy War item, since that basically makes you practically invincible. And then we're going to go ahead and throw Doom Train on this fella, because we're nice like that, you see. I do recommend using this Holy War item. It doesn't last for long, especially if you're considering drawing from this guy. I was just going to throw too many attacks out. You can go ahead and boost Doom Train, although the main reason we're summoning him is for his Vite Zero ability, status ability. So we can actually attack this guy then. And we'll start laying on the attacks. Once that's finished. Light Pillar, again, is his one-shot ability. It won't actually do any damage, while Holy War is active though. And at maximum level, which this guy is, I think he has about 160,000 hit points. So we'll start drawing some Ultimas on Zer. He doesn't have a high magic stat, sadly, so I don't expect him to get a lot per draw. But 9, that's not too bad. and then we'll get the other characters attacking. Since Zell's attack is minuscule anyway, it does like low damage because he's a defensive character. But once Zell is stocked up on Ultimas, then we have 3 characters with the full amount, all thanks mainly to that Shumi Village draw point from earlier on, if you remember that, which I'm hoping you do, because it was a major source of Ultima throughout much of the game. But as you can see with the proper setup, this fight is quite trivial really. Just keep throwing your gunblade off with Squall. Oh, if you don't know the game, by the way, this isn't the hardest optional boss. But it is the second of the optional bosses. So we're getting 9 Ultimas at a time here, that's pretty awesome. Nine is the most you can draw from any particular draw from a monster anyway. And we'll have plenty of Ultima stones as well to finish off that Ultima collection. And there is Ultima Weapon. Now, don't fight Ultima Weapon at all if you still want to farm the monsters, the fixed encounters in this area for items, because those fixed encounters will now be removed. You also get Eden's card even. And that's it. That actually brings us to the end of this dungeon. Done. We are sorted. So, it's not really a great reward for the effort that was required in coming down here. But if you don't have Eden, then you can get him from here, although it's really the hardest way to get him, in all honesty, when he's so easily collected from Tiamat in the final dungeon of the game. But also the Ultima Stones are pretty nice as well, just so you can completely fill up on your Ultima magics, because you're bound to have 200 at least by this point, if you've been doing the Shumi Village draw point as well. So anyway guys, I think I'm going to finish off here. I'm going to say thanks for joining me, and then next time we're going to take on the game's ultimate optional boss, and then after that we're going to take on the final story encounters as well. So probably 2, maybe 3 at the most episodes left, I would say. I hope this has been helpful to you guys. Thanks for joining me, and we'll pick up soon with more Final Fantasy VIII. Bye for now.